Hi, Jim Benson here from Modus Cooperandi, and this is attached to an article about Ma, which is about the space between things. And often the space between things is the physical distance between things, but in the article I make the case that it could also be the cognitive space. So it could be things that other people see as clutter that you see as reassurance or information or something that allows you to think better, to feel more at home. So some people's homes are extremely pristine, nothing on any surfaces. Other people have, tchotchkes and little remembrances of things. My place is filled with little knickknacks that remind me of places that I've been and people that I care about. And those things provide me with some comfort and allow me to get some work done. But I want to talk a little bit more about this and just talk about it as a conversation and not necessarily as a lot of text to read. So my background is in urban planning. And when we were writing the Region 2040 plan, which was the growth management plan for Portland, Oregon, which kind of created the dynamic urban environment that Portland is today, we had to ask ourselves, we said, what are we building a bunch of rules that says you have to put your building like this, and there has to be this type of an easement, and people have to be able to walk from here to here, and you can have these land uses abut these land uses, or are we going to give more general guidelines to say things like, policy statements? Neighborhoods should be walkable. There should be an ample amount of green space. People should be able to not be too far away from basic necessities, like grocery stores and hospitals and things like that. And that when you're building an urban area, you want it to be safe. You want it to be walkable. You want it to be comfortable. And so we opted for that. The Region 2040 plan itself is I don't know. I think one of the things I'm the most proud of in my entire career, or my careers, I guess it would be. But that was informed by work by people like William White, who studied open urban spaces in New York City in the 60s and took time-lapse videos and showed how people actually interacted with the spaces in the way that they wanted to versus the way that maybe we wanted them to. And we found out some funny things that, like, if you make a urban sitting area and you fill it full of like completely beautiful, massive granite blocks that they can sit on and watch a waterfall or whatever, that people will generally not go there. But if you do something completely stupid, like have a completely open area with a bunch of plastic chairs, they'll go there in an instant because they can move things around. They can change the environment. And they found that, like, there would be like a chair sitting here and a chair sitting here, and somebody would take the chair that was sitting over here and they'd move it like at a 30-degree angle for almost no reason other than that they were customizing their own environment, right? So often when we create when we create the space between things, we actually kind of make it kind of dictatorial where that is like, a thing is here, there is blank space here, a thing is over here, right? And what people want is they want, we've got some space that we could use, and we're human beings, and we're going to move that space around. So like when Tony Ann and I are teaching classes, we never leave people lined up, in pews in front of us to listen to us pontificate. We always move people into rounds or square tables so that they can talk to each other. And so that every so often, rather than just staring up at us the whole time, they can like look at each other, even if it's just a glance. Or they're laughing, we say something funny and they laugh, and then they kind of share that laugh. When you're sitting in rows, that doesn't happen. The rows are dictatorial. And we find that when people are sitting in the rounds, they will always move their chairs around, not just to see us, but just to be more comfortable. When people are sitting in rounds, they tend to be more aware of their space. So they'll move their chair a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right so that the person behind them can see. When they're sitting in pews, they just assume, maybe those people behind me can see, maybe they can't. So all of us to say, like, that a big part of Ma is just that, is customization, is being able to engage in the decoration, the use, the configuration, the implementation, any Asian that you want to add to the space we inhabit. So when we go to work, we spend a lot of time at work. Some of us spend way too much time at work, but we're at work a long time. So even me, I when I'm in the office, this is the office. This is my home. My home is my office. I go to great lengths to make it both functional and comfortable. And I hate it when you're in a situation where people are like, you can't put that up on the wall in the office. We had one company that we were working with in Philadelphia, and this team had a big Kanban on this rolling whiteboard in their office, and they were going great guns. They were having a great time, more productive than they'd ever been, more camaraderie than they'd ever had, and they were rolling. And they came in one day, and their whiteboard was gone. They're walking all over the office like, who took our whiteboard? And I was like, I don't have your whiteboard. I don't have your whiteboard. The thing was huge. You couldn't hide it. Somebody couldn't like put it under their desk. It was like 7 feet tall. And so finally they figured out that facilities took their whiteboard because it's illegal to have rolling whiteboards in the building. So much to their credit, these guys waited until nightfall, until everyone left the building, and then they snuck downstairs and they stole their whiteboard back. And then they chained it to their desk with a titanium bike lock. So that was the links that they had to go to customize their space, to engage in their own form of Ma, right? So even though that whiteboard took up space, theoretically wasn't a space between things. It was the space between them cognitively not knowing how to do their work and being able to see it and get their work done. So it's a short little talk about Ma, just a few more things that I wanted to get off my chest. I find all this incredibly interesting. I love taking these ideas from urban planning and bringing them into management. It gives me some continuity. So anyway, Jim Benson, Personal Kanban, Modus Cooperandi. Thanks for listening.